This is wonderful Radio London, where you're hearing things, where you're hearing things.
Story which somebody sent me from one of the daily newspapers, I have no idea which one. It's about self-confessed beatnik, which whatever that means. Robert Basser became a tramp because he wanted nothing more to do with people. He gave all his affection to his one inseparable companion, a white mouse called Mickey. He's all I've got, 29-year-old Basser often said. And last night he showed that he meant it. He gave his life trying to save the mouse. He was standing by the parapet of the St. Michael Bridge here, combing out the mouse when it fell into the Seine. And Robert dived in to save his pet, but he couldn't swim, and both he and Mickey were drowned. And his father said that mouse was the only thing he cared for. So there you are, see, there's someone, Mickey, Robert rather, could have been a lot happier, and Mickey too, if they'd been able to find something like the Perfumed Garden, you know, because it's communication, and then he would have known that there are lots of other people who actively care, even if they don't know him.
They'd asked me what I wanted to call myself. I said, well, how about Helen Llewellyn Product 19? And they kind of looked at me and they thought, not entirely sure about that. And then there was a woman typing there and sort of like listening to this conversation. She said, why don't you call him John Peel? And that's, I became John Peel. I just completely did away with the format. I didn't run the news, didn't run any of the ads, didn't do the weather, and just started playing all these LPs and stuff that I'd got. You know, some things I'd bought back from America, mainly things which I'd bought from One Stop Records in South Moulton Street, which alas no longer exists, which was like the killer record shop. And I used to read other people's poetry fantastically badly, and talk a lot about mice and fairies and, you know, just general hippie stuff. The programme became very popular in a very short period of time, but then the radio station was closed down by the Marine Offences legislation of 1960, and we all had to apply for jobs at Radio 1. Hello, pal, you looking for Tony?
No, you actually. I'm trying to find a band.
Called?
Dragon Teeth.
There's no such band.
They were around in the 80s. I was with the lead singer last night.
Well, you can look under the D's if you like, but there's no such band, I'm telling you. Are you up to speed, as they say in TV?
That's all John. This is Hollywood.
What I'm doing here is, weeks after it arrived in the house, sorting out the script for my first film appearance. 5 Seconds to Spare, based on the novel The Dwarves of Death. I'm not absolutely certain what my role is, but I'm sure it's a very important one within the context of the film. And I've got about, when I counted them before, I've not checked them since I was given all of this stuff to add to it. I had 18 words, I think, one of them being shit. Unfortunately, so far, that's the only one that I've memorised. What's up?
Jarvis has pulled out tonight's session.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea that when I'm in the Stowmarket home for the bewildered, this comes up on TV, on Channel 4, I expect. I should be able to sit there and say to all the other old dears who can't remember their own names, look, my old films are coming around again. Right, total 50 words in total, that's all I've got. So, will I master it? Will you see me? I'll probably end up on the cutting room floor.
It's here, Top Gear. The new beat show that's go, go, go.
The days of the Light programme, very formal situation, although the Light programme was a fairly informal network, because disc jockey programmes as such were produced like every other programme in that everyone had to write a script beforehand. And the disc jockey sat in a little box, and outside an assistant studio manager played the records, and somebody else mixed the sound, and somebody else produced it. So it was a four-man team to make a disc jockey programme. And of course the arrival of the Pirates changed all of that, because here were a bunch of guys who not only picked their own music, but just sat down there and played it. They physically played the records, they didn't have a script, and they put the whole thing together, and they were in total control. So it was the change of culture that was needed to set up Radio 1.
And, as one cannibal said to another,
It's a white man
mixed with yellow chinkies. Oh,
we try harder, yes we do.
If you lump it all together,
Can you tell me what you got, baby?
well, you got a recipe for a little long steam. Oh, what a beautiful dream. Here we go! Come on, come on, come on! What we need is a great big melting
It's considerably tidier studio than you had last week.
Well, I had a bit of time to clean it up afterwards for once, you see.
The producer of the program that I was doing then, which was called Top Gear, was a man called Bernie Andrews, who was a visionary, really, and had been during the whole of it, not a difficult man at times, but a man who'd helped the Beatles a lot in their early days and early sessions with the BBC, and was treated with respect and affection by them. My first encounter with John Peel was probably about August 1967, because I had a new program coming up called Top Gear. It was a return of a previous program I used to do with Brian Matthew. And having heard him on the Perfumed Garden, on the pirate ships, and I'd heard about him from other people, I thought, that's the guy I want to do my program. And he came up to my office to see me, and he didn't have shoelaces like most other people did. He had like lengths of plastic wire going through his shoes instead of shoelaces. And I thought, he's really weird, this bloke. I thought, but that's who I want.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Top Gear. Yours truly, Pete Drummond, here with you until 5 o'clock this evening. This is the first edition of Top Gear, the show which we hope will help you after your Sunday lunch of roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. We also have a lot of groups live on the show. The first three have records in the top 10 currently. The Move, Traffic, will be doing their first live broadcast, and tomorrow featuring Keith West, also making their first broadcast. Also live are the Pink Floyd, the Senate, and from the United States, Tim Rose and Big Maybell.
You have to remember that in those days, Drummond was the main presenter when the program started, and Peel was a co-presenter on every third or fourth week. And I think it wasn't until November that he and Pete Drummond became regular presenters.
And last, but by no means least, Mr. John Peel. Good afternoon to you, Jonathan.
Well, good afternoon, Peter. I think you read that beautifully, and it's very nice to be with you on BBC programme number TLN 39PH433Q, affectionately known as Q.
And now, a song from Jefferson Airplane from California, White Rabbit.
Actually, before MI5 transferred me from California, I attended the recording session at which this was made, and it's very beautiful too. I'd like to play for a very special person this afternoon, the bailiff, who sits in the sitting room of Peel Acres 24 hours a day.
As far as listeners went, it seemed to be go down very well. But as far as my management went, and the controllers of Radio 1, they didn't like him at all. And I got wind back very quickly that they didn't like him, and they didn't want him ever booked again. And I said, well, I've already booked him. And they went stark raving mad.
You have a picture of Tony Blackburn up there.
Yes, well, that's basically as a cautionary tale, I think, because it seems to me, with the best will in the world, that Tony has become a victim of this star-building DJ thing. And I think it's very sad.
Exactly 9 o'clock here on Radio 1. Hi, Jim.
How are you, then?
Very well, thanks.
I think I've just broken the track record, actually, for...
What have you done? Oh!
Yeah.
You have you?
1 minute and 35 seconds.
You sound all puffed out.
That's only because I'm puffed out. What are you doing, you man fool?
Oh! Got carried away there, Jim.
If you listen to Radio 1 for an entire week, or a year even, you won't hear anything at all that relates to anything that's going on. You know, it's just all... It's incredibly predictable... sort of porridge, really, just meaningless.
For me.
Hi, good people. Welcome once again to Top Gear, the program that looks beyond the pop horizon. Our studio guests today are Elmer Gantry's Velvet Opera, The Family, The Herd, J.J. Jackson, The Jimi Hendrix Experience, and The Kinks.
Just turn that dial. Make your music worthwhile. Radio 1, you stole my gal.
and every